4 days, 5 topics, one more special session this week with much of the focus on the Florida front of Israel's war on Hamas terror. Money for security, sanctions against Iran-based companies. Add to that, bills funding home hurricane hardening and things like school vouchers. And some of those bills are being carried by South Florida senators and reps. 2 are here live with us to take the dive into the details. State Representative Michael Gottlieb, Democrat, repping Central Broward, right here at the table with us. State Senator Alexis Calatayud, Republican, repping Southeast Miami-Dade on Zoom. Hello, everybody, and thanks so much for being with us in this conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Good morning, Glenna. Thanks for having us.
Good morning. Alexis, I want to start with you because you are sponsoring one of the bills. The security grants is the title on the bills. Incidentally, everyone can look them up and read the bills right there online as we talk. This actually goes to its first committee tomorrow. Looks like it's going to be a speedy time. Grants for nonprofits, schools and the like, museums that are considered high risk for terror attacks and hate crimes. Explain that pot of money and why that might be necessary, since I believe they're already funding for those kind of things already.
Thank you for the question, Glenna. The Florida State Nonprofit Security Grant Program is a parallel to the federal Nonprofit Security Grant Program. I created it this past legislative session with unanimous support from the House and the Senate with my colleague Randy Fine. And so this is for additional funding because we found a gap between what our communities needed of our faith, religious, our ethnic and cultural communities needed for their support. This fund was created this past legislative session, and now we are fully funding. So we are investing $10 million into the Nonprofit Security Grant Fund, which focuses both on hardening measures and security personnel measures, $20 million in Jewish family day schools and preschools for security personnel, and $5 million for Jewish day schools and preschools for intentional structural hardening.
So as long as we are all together here having this conversation, we get an idea of how Democrats in the House and Senate are looking at that kind of idea, because I think Israel, anti-Semitism, protecting people, hate crime, this is a bipartisan thing here.
Absolutely. I expect this bill to pass without much debate. The program's open essentially to anybody who's running any kind of house of worship or school with young children. But as you mentioned, anti-Semitism is on the rise. It was up 40% last year and is up over 400% this year since the October 7th attack. So I think that this bill is very timely and is very needed. I'm really looking forward to voting yes on it.
Senator, would that money also be available to non-Jewish institutions who can show a credible fear of that kind of thing?
Great question. This program was actually created in collaboration with multiple faith communities. And the vision was to make sure that we not just created this fund and provided funding inside of it, but we worked with different faith communities, different cultural communities to encourage them to learn how to apply and to participate. Our vision here was for this to be ecumenical in that sense. And unfortunately, after the October 7th massacre and the Hamas terrorist activity, we're seeing an even heightened intensity of anti-Semitic action. And so with that full view of opening for the full community, we now see so much more anti-Semitism plaguing the nation and the world. And so it's become so much more pressing a need to dramatically increase the funding.
You know, while we're talking about this, I want to kind of go rogue for a moment. I just thought of something. Representative Randy Fine was actually here with us last week. He is the co-sponsor on this particular bill. And he was talking about how he has switched his endorsement from Governor Ron DeSantis for president to Donald Trump for president for the reason that he didn't think the governor was taking a strong enough public vocal stance condemning anti-Semitism. In words as well as deeds, and I wonder what you think of that.
Thanks for asking, Lena. I'm proud to say that Governor DeSantis has supported all of this policy. I worked with Representative Fine on our strengthening of the criminal and civil penalties for hate crimes. this past legislative session, as well as this policy. And I believe we're taking incredibly intentional steps in the state of Florida, and the governor has supported those steps to make this state, at this moment especially, the safest place to openly practice your religion and celebrate your religious and ethnic community. Right now, Florida is endeavoring to make our state the second safest place in the world for the Jewish people. And I think in large part, that's to thank the governor.
So you're talking action. Randy Fine was talking words. What do you think about that?
I think the governor's history of not condemning the Nazis in Tampa and the hate groups that came to Tampa are the kind of things that Representative Fine is talking about. I think the governor was a little slow to action to call this special section and to condemn the atrocities committed by Hamas, against Israel. So I think that's why
I'm sorry, you thought he was slow to call the session?
Well,
I want to make sure I heard that right.
Yeah, I mean, he called the session relatively quickly, but he didn't. You were asking about his words. You know, he didn't
what
condemn
Randy
it.
Fine had said. Yes.
Correct. Yeah. You know, we were up there right after October 7th, so we're coming up there a month later. So, maybe you think that's quickly, but I don't necessarily think that's quickly. I think that there are times that we need to take immediate action. So I think a 30-day period of time, I would agree with Representative Fine that the governor didn't do enough as quickly as he could have or should have to make people feel safe and secure in the state of Florida.
Just for the record, what I think doesn't matter here. I just ask the questions.
Well, you're a voter, so it does.
Not at this table. I wanted to ask you about the one of the other bills called scrutinized companies. Let me throw this one to you first. Scrutinized companies redesignates what is also an existing program that sanctions companies who invest in, do business with Iran and its oil and energy sector. Isn't the state of Florida and the layer of federal oversight have that already, does it not? How is this different?
Right, I think to a certain extent it does, and it also prevents the state of Florida from making investments in those companies. So I think what it is it's a second look to ensure that the money that we're spending, that our tax dollars, aren't going to Hamas, because we've seen that we've provided them with millions, if not billions of dollars in infrastructure money that hasn't gone to infrastructure. It's gone to commit, acts of terrorism and acts of, atrocity. So I think what we're doing is making sure that the people of Florida's money is going to be invested wisely, and that we're going to be not encouraging money to be used, and it's only money over $1 million. I don't know how many Iranian gas companies there are that are doing business in the state of Florida. So
that actually was my next question. Senator, do you know, are you on board with this, and do you know the practical effects of this?
Like Representative Gottlieb, I'm not aware of the exact number of organizations that are doing business currently with Iranian companies, but I feel that anything that we can do to limit the funding that Iran has to continue their work around the world, supporting Hamas, supporting Hezbollah, increasing Hezbollah's activity in Latin America, across the world. These people have supported the initiation of brutal terrorist war in the Middle East. They have siphoned off the opportunity for further Middle Eastern peace and are doing everything they can to put barriers between one of the United States' closest allies and security in a region that we deeply believe security is in our national interest for.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to, this is how television goes. I need to hit the break, but if you sit tight for a couple of minutes, I sure do want to come right back, because we have some other bills much more locally practical to talk about when we come right back. Stay tuned. We are back with State Representative Michael Gottlieb right here at the table, State Senator Alexis Calatayud with us via Zoom, talking about the special session coming up, two of the non-Israel related bills coming up. And let's talk about the first one. My Safe Florida Home, a hurricane hardening program, is part of a bill, a larger bill that's going to be funding more hurricane relief, largely for Idalia victims. But Michael Gottlieb, My Safe Florida Home, which was touted as one of the programs to circumvent damage and lower property insurance premiums, ran out of money pronto because so many people wanted to use it. So this invests more, I think like a quarter of the $500 million is going into it. Is that enough, and is that sustainable?
Well, the good thing is we've got a very robust economy here in the state of Florida, and we have a lot of money. We have a $115 billion budget typically, and I think with this bill, we're dedicating another $181.5 million to the My Safe Home project. So if it's not enough, we've got a session coming up in January, and I'm sure we'll appropriate more if it's needed. But I'm glad to see that Floridians are taking advantage of it, that they're hardening their homes, and that they're getting money back from the government that is proactive so that we don't have to spend it. Hopefully there are no hurricanes that cause damage, but so that we don't have to spend it in the end, and we can save people's homes.
Senator, do you are you convinced that this isn't just going to be like a black hole of money? One of the criticisms of the reason hurricane premiums, storm premiums are so high is because of fraud and people taking advantage. Are you convinced that this program is airtight enough and plannable enough to really work the way it's supposed to?
I'm very excited about the My Safe Florida Home program, and I think it's been an incredible opportunity for homeowners to be able to take the next steps in protecting their home and hardening their home with the best technology that we have. And it's really exciting to see, as Representative Gottlieb said, the aggressive nature that local Floridians are finding ways to take advantage of these programs. I can also think of the Hometown Heroes programs that helps first-time home buyers in Florida step into their first home with a 0% interest, $35,000 loan for down payment assistance. We've got $100 million already in the hands of Floridians within 3 months' time.
Yeah, and these, I mean, the programs are wonderful and helpful. Yeah. And I guess my real question is, in reading the bill, it does seem to allocate some resources to go after assuring that the people who are getting the money deserve it and need it. Are you confident that that is airtight enough for preventing fraud, theft, waste?
We're learning every day, just as fraudsters and criminals are learning new ways to try to circumvent processes. So I believe that we get better and better all the time in understanding how people are trying to jump loopholes and take financial advantage of governments, whether that's cyber or that's completely through application process. We learn every day how to get better at that.
Are you, Representative, are you also convinced that, you know, to your point, the economy is good, flush with money? Is it sustainable, though?
Well, I think so. I mean, the weather was great this year. We didn't have, you know, people are still flocking to Florida.
Hope and prayer is not a thing.
And if we stop our fight with Disney, which attracts a lot of people to the state of Florida, we'll continue to have, a lot of money in the general revenue.
I didn't have that one on my bingo card here. Yeah. Senator, I want to talk about the other bill coming up. This special session is Florida's in its first year of universal school vouchers. That a lot of attention toward that, and then the bill that you all will be voting on this week adds a lot more money and takes away the cap on specifically the vouchers that allow $10,000 for students with disabilities. That program has been there. It has a cap. There's a long waiting line. This week, the cap could be lifted, money added. I guess the same question is, the state's own analysts don't really know how much and how many. Does that concern you?
This is a program that's near and dear to my heart. So the Unique Abilities program supports families with children that have disabilities, and that could be very complex disabilities. This funding helps them personalize education. So to me, providing greater and greater access for families to be able to understand how to uniquely support their child, this almost is the most important issue in education, true equity of opportunity for children with special needs. And so I'm excited to move that policy forward and also to work through subsequent legislative sessions to make sure that that is always funded at the need that Floridians have.
Do you know how many people, how many families, how much money is going to be needed to get rid of that wait list?
That's the interesting piece. We don't know how many families would like to transition into a different education environment for their child. So this is all market driven or really family driven. So we can't really make that estimation because it's individual choices of families.
Interesting. So let me get the Democratic point of view on that, because listen, you know, just from talking to people in office, it is the Republican line that we are fiscal conservatives. We are going to watch our money. So to hear this kind of thing where this program that is so helpful and critical to so many, there's really no way to know how many and how much. Well, give me your take on that. Are you supportive of this?
So I am supportive of this, actually.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Just because of the technology of this, I want to be able to make sure someone on Zoom can hear this. Go ahead, Senator.
No, and I'm sorry, and I just want to say, I believe this is becoming a beautifully bipartisan alignment. You'll see that our upcoming speaker, Miami's own Danny Perez, has made in his opening address as his designation as speaker, supporting people with special needs throughout their lifetime is one of his priorities. So I think you're going to see really beautiful things coming out of the legislature on that front in the next couple of years. I
am so down for that. That's amazing. But I want to get back to how do you pay for them? And now the money is there, to your point, in perpetuity and sustainability to really provide these families with the help. Are you concerned that the facts of those numbers aren't there, or not? I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth.
You know, it's very difficult to know how many families are going to be at the income level to be able to take advantage of this, and how many families have children with unique abilities and want to take advantage of it. As a Democrat, we don't love voucher programs because we don't want to see public schools being defunded. But at the same point in time, when you see a program like this and you recognize the benefit that it can give to individuals who have these needs to go to a school that's more particularized, and it can help them, and it can mainstream them, and it can help them get the education that they need, I absolutely 100% favor it. And we'll figure it out as we go along as to how many kids need it, and we'll fund it.
Well, that sounds like it's going to be a rockin' week. State Rep Michael Gottlieb, State Senator Alexis Calatayud, it's sure great to have you together with us today, and I hope you will be back.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
All right.